up, Kryptonians? Welcome back to yet another recap slash review of the latest episode of Titans, the episode of Titans that aired this past Friday that I should have reviewed like a day or two ago. In case some of you guys did not know, my birthday was last week. I am now 27 years young, and there was a lot of stuff that I had to do over the weekend. I'm not going to divulge the details, but there was a lot of this involved. And there may have been a drunk stanky leg, I'm not entirely sure. Food, there was drink, there was party, there was good feelings, there was 27-year-old jokes, there was, hey, you're getting old jokes, so I'd appreciate it in the comment section if you guys stayed away from the whole, hey, you're almost 30 type of stuff. Sorry that it took me so long to get to this video. I definitely have a lot to say about the episode that came out on Friday called Aqualad. Majority of this episode is a flashback. Most of this episode takes place in the past, 5 years in the past, back before Titans even was a thing. I guess back before the Titans show was a thing. Back in the day, 5 years ago, the original Titans were a thing. A large portion of this episode focuses on the original Titans and about their relationships and their bonds and how all of that was torn apart by, you know, guess who? Deathstroke. You do see Deathstroke at the beginning of this episode, and it's kind of awesome to see Deathstroke racking up the body count, doing typical Deathstroke mercenary shit. Going around, he's putting hits out on people, he's stabbing dudes through the chest, he's sniping people from a long distance away. Awesome to see Deathstroke in his suit. It's awesome to see Deathstroke doing stuff. Not awesome to be manipulated by that music, because they play the most happy-go-lucky 1940s type of music. The entire time you're like vibing with the song, and then you're like, oh my god, that guy just got sniped right through the face. Okay, wow. That was rough. Then you get to the end of the Deathstroke montage, and then the black guy that he was talking to in the first episode of Titans, to see that he's actually hired to go to San Francisco. And the guy basically hands it to him. He's like, this is a job. This is not your typical job. You're gonna have to go to San Francisco for this one. Deathstroke's like, okay, as long as the money's good. Simultaneously confirms but also destroys one of my theories and one of the other theories that some people had about Deathstroke and about the death of Aqualad. Obviously the episode's called Aqualad, and you know it's going to focus a lot on what happened to Aqualad, how did he die, and a lot of people theorize that Deathstroke killed him, obviously. A lot of people theorize that he killed Aqualad because the Titans did something to affect his son Jericho, or did something personally to Deathstroke to piss him off, and he retaliated by killing Aqualad. As you can see in the first few minutes of this episode, that theory is just thrown out of the window because there's nothing personal between him and the Titans yet. He takes this as a job. He is hired to go to San Francisco and take out Aqualad. Obviously at that point you're wondering, okay, but who hired Deathstroke? I mean, Deathstroke, he's not a cheap date. Somebody wanted this to happen really bad. Come on guys, who didn't think of Black Manta right out the gate? It just makes too much sense. Who else would do it? Why else would you want to kill Aqualad? It just makes way too much sense that Black Manta hires Deathstroke, with the most lethal killer on the face of the planet, sends him to San Francisco so that he could take out Aqualad to get at Aquaman about something. It just makes too much sense. Either way, like I said, most of this episode is in flashback form, so you do get to see the original Titans, you get to see them bond, you get to see them as a family, you get to see them in action. There's a pretty cool team-up scene in the beginning where the Titans are taking out some guys who are trying to rob some family on the road or something like that. Always gotta give Titans high marks for their action and their fight choreography. One little detail I loved from this part was seeing how differently Dick fought back in the day. You guys remember when you started off in Titans Season 1, Dick was like the most brutal version of Dick Grayson that he could ever be. Like, this dude was Batfleck on steroids. He's not Batfleck, he's at least like the most violent version of whatever Dick Grayson could be. So obviously it was kind of refreshing that they kept that detail. Like back in the day, 5 years ago, he didn't fight the same way. There's a lot more acrobatics, a lot more flips, and he was a little bit less damaging to the people that he was fighting. I thought that was pretty cool. The scene ends with Aqualad and Donna coming up to the scene, and then she breaks open a fire hydrant, and then he uses his hydrokinesis and he's able to catch one of the robbers. Gotta give props where props is due. If I'm gonna clown some of the CG on the rest of the show, I gotta give credit when it looks good. The hydrokinesis shit, it looked pretty good. Most of this episode is not only a flashback, it also deals with how Garth is trying to get in Donna's pants. Not literally about that, obviously, but basically they could have renamed this episode to Friend Zoning a Fish. It happens the entire episode, people. A fish is friend zoned, and it's not fun to watch. I've seen this before, obviously, in Hollywood. Marlon did it to Dory for the entire Finding Nemo movie. Oscar did it to Angie in Shark Tale. This is just a thing. I want a spin-off series on the DC Universe focusing on the friend zoning of fish, and don't act like you wouldn't watch that shit. I feel like this episode went out of its way to make Donna a lot more unlikable than she had been in previous episodes. She's very aloof, she's very standoffish in this episode. She's kind of, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to people, I don't want to deal with people. She's antisocial, she stays in her room, she reads her books. Most importantly, she's trying to avoid Garth at like all costs, because she knows that Garth wants to get with her, and she's like, no, we're not gonna do that. And I wish that this episode had actually fleshed out and delved deeper into the why behind all that. It seems like there's a bunch of different reasons that it could be. Because he's an Atlantean and she doesn't like Atlanteans and their whole live by the moment type of thing. I mean, that seems kind of a weak reason, but maybe that's the reason. Could it be because she has to go back to Themyscira to finish her training with Diana or whatever, and that she doesn't want to get too attached to people? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because she feels like she'll get in some kind of trouble if an Amazon and an Atlantean hook up and get together. Like, I don't know. It just seems like there's a bunch of different reasons. Maybe you guys could point them out in the comment section below. I feel bad for the guy at some point in the episode. He's making all the right moves. He's opening himself up to her, and the bitch is just like, no, 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 stay away from me. I don't want it. I don't want it. Of course, we can't escape the real possibility that up until now in life, she hasn't really been a fan of fish sticks. So, I don't know. Maybe that's it. The side story that's happening during this episode is Dr. Light. Dr. Light is out and he's looking for some subatomic whatever, and the Titans obviously have to stop Dr. Light. All the stuff with Dr. Light is going on in this episode. You're just rooting for Garth and Donna to finally just hit it off. Like, even if she doesn't like fish sticks, you're like, let him fillet you, okay? Just let him fillet you and this will all go away. Find out she's trying to leave immediately. She's trying to accelerate her departure or whatever. She ends up having to leave and she tells Dick, but she doesn't tell anybody else, especially not Garth. This leads to a weird scene where Garth has been wanting to get with her for so long, and then Donna gives him a pity fuck, I guess? There's really no other way to look at it other than, yeah, it was straight up a pity fuck. I don't know what else you would call it, but she has sex with him, and then she immediately leaves right afterward. I had the best time of my life, and now she's gone, so of course Garth goes after her. He tracks her down and goes to the airport, and he gets in her face, and he's like, why are you leaving? Why would you do this? Why wouldn't you just be honest with me? Deathstroke shows up right on cue to kill Aqualad, so once again, Anna loses Steve Trevor at an airport, and then, you know, Donna loses Garth at an airport. It just, I don't know. That's just the luck of the Amazon, I guess. It's just hard to walk away from this feeling a lot of sympathy for Donna. Like I said, she's kind of unlikable in terms of her personality for most of the episode. I realized, yeah, she kind of sort of led to Garth getting killed. I mean, it wasn't all her fault, of course, but then you still have to think, like, maybe if she had made a few different moves, maybe if she had told him that she was leaving, maybe this doesn't happen. Or at least if it does happen, it doesn't have anything to do with her and she's not there. She doesn't have to watch Aqualad bleeding all over the pavement. Atlanteans have really durable skin, so I'm wondering what kind of bullet Deathstroke used to kill him. I'm not sure. I wonder if they're going to delve into that in the future episodes. Probably not. The Titans are now all united in anger, and they're just like, we got to go after Deathstroke. We got to get him back. Jericho is I mean, he's deaf. No, he's mute. He's mute. He can't talk. So he's in a music store, and then Dick comes up to him, and he manipulates him, and you can just tell Dick is about to kidnap him. This is setting the stage for a throwdown between the Titans and Deathstroke next week. Now the Titans have Jericho. Okay, well, you have to give us Jason back, and this is going to lead to, like, a standoff or something like that. Next episode's called Deathstroke, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they're going. In the end, it was really fun to see the original Titans team up, to see them in action a couple times. I love how well they worked as a team. Relationships are all different, but they all contextually make sense within the framework of the show. Obviously, back in the day, 5 years ago, Dawn was with Dick instead of Hank. Can't wait to see what happens next week with Jericho, with Deathstroke, with Jason Todd. Can't wait to see how all that plays out. Tell me, what did you like best about this episode? What was your favorite original Titan? Put that in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe to the Superfan Show. Stay tuned for more videos, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel. Stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.